they've kind of sent me packing. They've just said, look, we're not going to retest it. That handbrake still isn't good enough. It's not going to pass. So go off and get that sorted and then bring it back, which is nice. They've saved me a few quid on the retest. Very, love my garage. Very decent guys. But anyway, the point is that I kind of knew I wasn't going to pass muster anyway. But I just, actually what I was hoping was, because they've done this to me before, where I brought a car in with something that was a little less, like the Lotus was a good example, with the handbrake was a little bit dicky, and I just asked them to adjust it, and they did. For the sake of 20-30 quid, it was a no-brainer. But so I was hopeful that they would ring me up and go, yeah, we need to do some work on the handbrake, but that'll be an extra 50 quid. I'd have been like, fine, but that didn't happen. They said it's a fiddly, time-consuming job. You've got to take the handbrake is operated by shoes. It's basically a drum within the disc. Very clever, very simple system that keeps the handbrake dry even if you're off-roading, but it doesn't get serviced. And this car has been sort of home maintained, if you like, or not non-professionally maintained for the last couple of years. So this is just something that they've never serviced. And one side feels like it has no brake material at all left in there. So I'm going to go off and get a set of brake shoes and pop those in. And when I get the discs off, clean it all up inside, and hopefully reset everything. Hopefully it won't need new cables. But even if it does, I'm hopeful that isn't too faffy. Although trying to get everything down in here does not sound like it would be fun. But that's where we're at. I've been sent off with my tail between my legs, and I've got to go get some brake shoes. Oh, there's that clunk from the suspension. It's really ugly, that. Let's figure out what it is. Well, getting access to the handbrake mech actually wasn't that bad at all. There's two 16mm bolts holding the rear caliper in, so you just undo those and swing that out of your way. It sits up there out of the way, nice and handy. And then there's a little Allen key, where is it? A little Allen bolt that goes through the outside of the disc drum arrangement to retain it. And then once you undo that, you just hit it a few whacks with a hammer, gently, judiciously around the edges to loosen it, and then you tickle it off, exposing the brake shoes, which then act on the inside of the brake disc drum arrangement. Now, feeling this, that's super slick. There's not a lot of grip on that, and that is the sheer amount of crud that had built up inside in it. It was sitting inside there, spinning around. So it's hardly any wonder the brake wasn't working. Now, the other thing I think is interesting is on the outside of the disc drum arrangement, there's a little, there it is, there's a little access port, and the idea is you stick your screwdriver in there and you twiddle this wheel, and that just opens the shoes out and adjusts the brake to give a bit more bite. But it's all the way out, as you can kind of see there. So I need to wind that all the way in now, and then there's two retaining kind of lugs here and here. Again, Allen bolt, Allen key activated. And then this bit up here is the actual handbrakey bit. So the cable acts on this. So I'm going to take that out, clean that up, get it nice and oiled up, maybe get some copper grease on it, stop it sticking in future. I have new shoes to put in. There's still a bit of material on them, but they're glazed as all hell. Maybe there isn't, I don't know. I don't. Maybe there isn't. Maybe that is just metal. I'm going to take out the other ones and do a comparison in a minute. But anyway, but yeah, access, not too bad. And it shouldn't be, hopefully, too complicated to get all this apart and all back together. So let's see how we go. So I have been busy. I have cleaned off all the hub. I'm going to actually give a little dust now with the brush, just to get the last of it off, just to make sure that there's no, I spot a little bit in there still, just to make sure that there's no more sort of residual loose material floating around on the inside here, which will be trapped inside the drum. And then over here on the drum itself, I've gone over with my little flappy sander and just cleaned it all up inside, and then went in with a little wire wheel, just one of these guys, just to clean it all up on the inside of it. And that's the secondary pile of crud that came from that was stuck to the inside of this. So hopefully that will future-proof this setup. I've also even gone around the outside here. I just don't want any residue or anything like that going into the into the drum itself. I want to keep that as clean as possible. And then we get to the shoes themselves, and looking at these ones and sort of overlaying them on top of each other, there isn't actually that much wrong with the old ones. There seems to be honest, there's plenty of meat left on them. People did say to me they probably just need to be taken off and scuffed up, but actually now that I pushed them back metal to metal like that, you can actually, looking down on top of it, you can see there is a good mill of meat on the new ones, at least. And the thing about handbrakes, you're talking about tiny margins here, so that could make a difference. In any case, these are quite glazed, so you know, for the sake of 40 quid, it is the brake, you know, it is the emergency brake. So I don't feel this is money wasted. It'll future-proof it. So really, oh yeah, and the other thing I've done then is I've cleaned this up, the little handbrake. Basically, the cable goes onto that, and then it basically just acts on the shoe mechanism. So I've given that a clean up, and I've taken a look at the adjuster out. So all I'm going to do now is copper grease the bits that need a bit of grease to future-proof them, and just whack it all back together. Alright, so what I am doing right now is actually for my own benefit, more so than you. I do apologize for that. But I'm just going to check the handbrake and see whether it actually does something. And I can't see it from in here. So pull it open and down, up and down. Well, it feels good. Feels like it's doing something. Now, excuse me, I need to review this video and see if anything happened to those brake shoes. Well, I'm really glad I did that check, because it looks as if on my previous attempt the cable didn't catch the little mechanism in there. And then now as I try and reinstall it, it gave me a lot of jip, to be honest with you. Kept falling off. Quite a tricky thing to hook on there. It just requires a bit of delicacy. Anyway, hopefully now it's reattached and I can try again. Oh, I heard something there. Oh, that's interesting. That looked like it worked. Okay. That bodes superbly well. I think I could see that working. I'm going to review this little video here myself now, just to see that it all worked okay. And what I've done, just as an FYI, because with the best will in the world, when you take these apart, you think you're going to remember how to put them all back together, and you don't. So what I do is I do one at a time, and then have the other one there as a reference point, so that I know I'm putting, like for example, when you take this out, it's not immediately obvious which way is the front, which way is the back, until you got to put it back in. You think, okay, which way goes where? And same with the springs. There are two different springs, one in there and one underneath here. And it's like, when you put the little one in here, it actually catches that little, it's part of the mechanism to hold the little adjuster in place. But when you go to put it back in, it catches on the spring. The adjuster catches on the spring, you think that can't be right. Well, it is. So, just a small tip. Kind of never strip two things at the same time if you haven't done it before, because you lose all your references. Right, it's time for my little check again. I'm just going to allow you there for a second and run it and just give the handbrake a bit of a pull. See how it feels. See, make sure that thing goes up and down. There we go. Up and down, up and down. Alright, let's see. Feels okay. Proof is in the proverbial. So, right, bear with me while I have a look at that. Make sure that that does what it needs to do. And if that's the case, just go back on, and then I adjust them, and then I might bring it back this evening. See if I can get this thing back on the road today. That would be so much fun. That would be awesome. So that in there, if you can see it, is that little adjuster nut with the little grooves cut in it, little teeth. And so the way you adjust this is you put your screwdriver in, you keep twiddling it until it's down, until the wheel won't turn anymore. So on this side you have to nudge it down, on the other side you nudge it up. I think that's one of the mistakes I made yesterday, as I ran them both the same way, and of course that didn't work. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I've now adjusted it. Then you check to make sure that you go as far as you can to tighten it, and then you check that both sides are locking and that they're not moving when the handbrake's up. You give the handbrake a few tests, and then you click it back up. They say 8 clicks, and then that's how you adjust it. So that's done, and both of them are. Oh, the handbrake's on now, and they ain't going anywhere. But if I undo the handbrake now, then, and even the way it feels, like it acts there now, whereas it used to go all the way up to here. Oh yeah, I was trying to release it. Never mind. Okay, so now I release the handbrake, and that should spin a little more freely than that. Here, let me get my with the handbrake down. So this is why I'm doing this now, just to make sure that it's all okay. Yeah, there you go. That's fine. Actually, it's probably a little tight. That I may slacken that one off another little bit. It still feels a little tight. So yeah. Anyway, those are the final adjustments I'm going to do, and then it's just a question of putting the wheels back on it, putting the rear calipers back on it, then the wheels, and then bringing it back for its MOT retest. Fingers crossed. Well, that's it. It's done. It's back on its wheels, and yeah, I'm ready to go test it. It's rolling okay. When you give it a little roll, it's fine. But the thing to do now is to go test it on a hill somewhere, on the way to the MOT center, and then just drop it off. Actually, the MOT center is on a hill, so I'll test it there. If they could give it a quick turnaround today, I would be so happy. But let's see what happens. That should be it. There should be no other snags. Fingers crossed.